Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here, Sunday the 30th of May 2021. Right, it's a lovely sunny day, stroke sunny bank holiday weekend, and as those of you who've been following me recently know, we've just been tidying up the final jobs on the Fury SS, putting exhaust on, etc. And also what I didn't film during this last week is that I removed the exhaust cam to take up to Bob Rogerson so he could do a very precise drilling job on hardened steel to put the locating peg in the exhaust cam for the auto advance unit. And I didn't have time to film that, but perhaps that's a subject for a future video, i.e. how easy it is to remove cams on this without actually really taking much apart at all. It was very simple. But really the time has come, because the only thing now on this is the auto advance unit, which is unique to these, and we're all ready to go except for that. But obviously I do have one that I could borrow from the Bandit, and in fact with respect to the work we've done this week on the exhaust cam locating peg for the auto advance unit, then I did take the auto advance unit off the Bandit, and there it is, pretty unique. The most obvious feature being that unlike the majority of auto advance units at the time, which were bolted onto a taper at the back, this one isn't. It's flush on the cam, and you can see where the locating peg slots into, slotted. Fits into that slot there, we'll get it right in a minute. Whereas most of auto advance units that you're familiar with will be of this type, on a taper. And one of these could be modified, but they are quite different. You can see how long the shaft is on the actual camshaft itself compared to that one. So there's quite a bit of differences. Anyway, I digress. The reason why we're here today in the beautiful weather is that this is going to see the light of day for the first time in the sunshine. So what I've got to do is first is do a bit of tidying up in here to open up the garage door on that side, which only gets opened up once in a blue moon. And I think the last time I'd opened up was when we finished the Bandit in 2013. So that's about 8 years or so ago. Anyway, it all works. I've built all this shelving since, but left space at the far end hopefully for that door to open, but that's the first test. So I'll get the GoPro on, and hopefully it might provide a bit of amusement if I do a time lapse on me trying to sort this lot out and get that door open, and then hopefully we'll get the bike out. Right everyone, there she is, out in the sunshine for the first time. You could probably have a few laughs about the carry-on film that I've just made trying to get it off the hydraulic lift stroke bench. I always find it difficult because the surface is so smooth and it's difficult to get bikes off the main stand. I thought at one point the main stand was slightly seized, but it wasn't at all. It was just the bike was slipping all over the place. The main stand couldn't get a purchase, so I could actually lever it off. But managed it in the end. So let's have a quick walk around and then I'll do a few observations. First thing is I've had to adjust the rear chain. The main stand and the side stand are in perfect positions really. It stands up well on its side stand, not too far over. The stands retract to the right position. The main stand right leg is a little close to the rear chain, but now the rear chain is tensioned properly. It shouldn't be too bad, but I can alter that. So the first thing that I noticed when I came out was that some of the chrome plate, especially on the wheel rims, needed a bit more of a clean. These wheels were probably rebuilt at the same time as the Bandit wheels, so that's going to be maybe 14 or 15 years ago, and you don't realise that they can deteriorate indoors a bit, but they're okay. I've been trying to keep on top of them, but they need a bit more work. But anyway, she stands pretty well, I think. Looks pretty good. The cases maybe could do with a bit more of a polish, but the finish on the castings from the ultrasonic cleaner I'm really pleased with. Exhausts, I am pleased with those. They're not perfect, but considering I fabricated the silencers myself, I'm pretty pleased with those. You can maybe see the strange sort of finish that's occurred on the top of that lower one there. It doesn't look as though it's been polished properly. But other than that, pleased with them in any event. Now one thing to note is the frame and some of the cycle parts that were plastic coated dove grey. Again, around about the time the wheels were rebuilt, when we were doing parallel stuff with the Bandit, the colour is a little too light, but you wouldn't really notice it unless you got up close. But you can, I don't know if you can notice it on film actually, but if you look at the difference between the swinging arm and the rear brake anchor arm, that is original in original factory paint, and I've left it, which is why it's got a little tiny bit of rust on one edge. But you can see the difference. That's lighter, and that's the original dove grey. And the other two bits that I've sprayed up, like rear engine plate and the main stand, you might notice they're slightly darker, but nothing to worry about. It's no criticism really. I'm pleased with that. Other things to mention: I've plastic coated the rear brake plate satin black, the same as the front brake plate, but I think that most of the brochure images had this as silver, and I think the Bob Curry Test Fury SS, the original BSA 35J, I think that had a silver rear brake plate too. Anything else to mention? Not really, looking pretty good. I've done a bit more polishing on this side, especially the timing cover. It does need a bit more work, but it is a bit rough, but that's original and it has been used. So some of the parts that we've used on the motor and on the rolling chassis have been used at some point in the factory before it all went west. Okay, that's it. So not a runner yet, but one part to fit, and then we'll do a first start. I'm not sure whether that will be before the Stafford show, because we've got to prep for that now, which is in just over a month's time, and this will be there. So yeah, there she is. And what I'll do now is we'll get the Show Fury out, the Roadster, and we can point out the differences between the two, most of which are correct. Right, there they are together. What is apparent is that although I thought I was trying to keep the old Show Fury nice and clean, is that it does need a bit of a polish up. So the differences then between the Roadster and the SS, obviously exhaust, but also the SS had chrome guards, Roadster painted, and that really is the majority of it, to be honest. Oh, the other thing is the front brake plate black on the SS. Also, you'll notice there are slightly different bars on the SS, and these were listed in the parts book as an option, sort of slightly flatter bars, which is what I've chosen to put on because those are the ones I could get actually. They're available. And the only other difference between these two is that this Roadster, this is the this is factory original unrestored, and this was the example that was at the Royal Lancaster Hotel publicity launch on November the 10th, 1970. So this was built on, I think, on November the 6th, 1970, and it has got what marks it out as a very slightly earlier frame, in that the steering head is slightly longer and also doesn't have a strengthening gusset just here, which the later frames, a bit difficult to see, I know. Let's have a look. See if you can see that. You can just see there's a gusset being welded in here. It goes down to there. Difficult to see, I know. See if we can see it a bit on the other side. No, not really. But anyway, you'll probably find that most, if not all, of the frames of other surviving examples, maybe probably with the exception of the Show Bandit, which again is an empty motor, I think, at Sammy Miller's museum, unless he's built it up now. I think you'll find that all of the frames certainly that got out of the factory are all these later gusseted type, and not this this early one without gussets. But other than that, the frames are the same, exactly the same. So just a very minor difference. Obviously they must have had problems with cracks around the original steering head, so it needed bracing. But other than that, that's it. I think from here as well you might be able to see that the frame on the SS is a slightly lighter colour than the factory dove grey, but that doesn't detract from it at all, really. I think that's about it for now. I say, other than the fact that you get it out in the sunshine, and this poor old thing needs a bit of a polish up, but it will. I have been doing bits and pieces to it, but obviously nowhere near enough. So we'll sort that out before Stafford, as both of these will be there. Oh, and yeah, just I forgot to mention, electric start was option extra on both models. The Show Fury didn't come with one, but I've fitted one on the SS. I believe when these were intending to be catalogued for 72, then they dropped the option of electric start on the SS. But who knows now, it's a long while ago. And there's getting to be very few links back to that time. And certainly very little documentation that goes into that level of detail that's left. Okay. There you go, couldn't resist. Now you've got a complete picture. So the foreground now is Tony Page's Bandit, then my Show Fury, and then my Furious SS. The Bandit runs, The Fury Roadster show model engine is empty, so has never run, and the Fury SS is just about lined up for a first start in the very near future. And then finally, the only difference then between the Bandit and a Fury is the tank and the colour scheme. Other than that, they're the same. So a different tank shape with the filler offset to the right, and the central aluminium strip as on one or two other models. I think I can't remember which ones now. They're not. It's the same strip as one of the smaller models, maybe B35SS, but it doesn't ring a bell. I got that aluminium tank strip as a part number off another model, and this tank did have the mountings for it and it fitted perfectly, so we know that's what it had originally. Whereas on the Furies, different tank shape, central filler cap, and covering the central mounting you've got the usual BSA cap, and there's a seam here that they cover with a chrome strip. Right, I think we'll leave it there. So next thing will be a first start on the SS, and then the Fury Roadster need to polish up for Stafford. I'm not sure if the Bandit's coming to Stafford. I don't think I've got enough room for it, because as the A70 Lightning and the A75V Rocket 3 are going to Stafford too, so I've got 4 bikes going, and I don't think I've got enough room on the stand to get the Bandit on, but I'll keep that under review. But other than that, yeah, the Bandit needs a bit of a bully up. It might go to Stafford, but then it'll be returning to Tony Page's stable, quite rightly. But it's held up pretty well, the Bandit, since I recommissioned it after we borrowed the auto advance unit off it originally to get patterns made up. And although the points cover is on there at the moment on the end of the exhaust cam there, the auto advance unit is still off it, as I might just use it to do the first start on the Fury SS. Right, and there we go. With that view, I'll leave it there, and say thanks everybody for watching, all your interest, comments, and any subscriptions, and I'll see you all again soon with, in the future, the Fury SS first start. I'll also do a bit of an acknowledgement to all those that have helped me over the years in being able to complete the build of the Fury SS. And then we need to get some more road miles on the A70, as well as using the A75V this year as the main road bike to go to the BSA Owners Club meetings, etc. Right, that's it everybody. Thanks again. See you all again soon. Bye bye.